Hello everyone, this is Charles Folkard. It's September the 6th, 2016. Amazon and Lulu have censored my book, Deadbeat Dad. Lulu removed Deadbeat Dad from their website last year. And CreateSpace, a division of Amazon.com, removed my book, Deadbeat Dad, from their website August 27, 2016. I want to give you a little background to the writing of my book, Deadbeat Dad. When I was driven out of the United States by the Humboldt County District Attorney's Office, I flew to Bangkok, Thailand, with one checked bag and a carry-on. With that limited baggage, I brought with me all the court documents I possessed, a heavy pile of papers about 4 inches tall. From these documents, I wrote my nonfiction book, which I titled Deadbeat Dad. I left the U.S. in 1999. For a time, I was working with a New York-based editor who was interested in getting Deadbeat Dad published with a major publishing house. We parted ways when he wanted me to admit an essential aspect of the story. When an emotionally disturbed young lady used the anti-white male court system against me, causing me much emotional strain and financial loss during an already emotionally and financially draining ongoing divorce proceeding. 6 years later, after hundreds of emotionally filled hours writing, I self-published Deadbeat Dad with Lulu.com, which was, in 2006, essentially the only online self-publishing company available. And here's the book with the older cover that I used at Lulu.com. Here's the back cover of the book. I want to take a few moments here to read a few of these quotes. Number one at the top here, Honorable Judge John E. Puffington, Humboldt County, California Superior Court. This is what he said about me and to me. You're the best pro se litigant I've had in my courtroom in the 27 years I've been on the bench. And then a few minutes later he said, I don't give reasons, I give rulings. Now sit down and shut up. If I hear another word out of you, I'll find you in contempt of court. Those are the exact words of the judge as found in the court record. Here's another quote by Judge Alan J. Jaroslavsky. I have never, in the 12 years I've been on the bench, given a man back his business over the objection of his ex-wife. And I ask you, what right did this man have to take away my business that I worked hard for all my life up to that point, just because my ex-wife does not want me to have the business back? But why this judge has been doing what ex-wives want done to their previous husband, he's been doing it for 12 he had been doing it for 12 years, and this was back in 1999, and he's been on the bench ever since. Anyway, this is what my book exposed. Here's, quote, Professor Michael Wells, who's the instructor in the law enforcement program at the College of the Redwoods. He was speaking to me in the presence of my 2 young children. This is what he said. Now, remember, he instructs many of the law enforcement personnel in the state of California, because there's only, if I'm not mistaken, there's only 2 schools where you can go to learn law enforcement. But this is what the instructor said to me, right in front of my 2 young children. Come on, scumbag, get out of the truck and I'll kick your ass. All right? That's a crime right there, folks. And this, and right down here at the bottom, names have not been changed to expose the guilty. I didn't want to change the names. I changed the names of one person, but everyone else, I left their name in there. This is a true story. This actually happened. This isn't me writing a book about something else that happened to give you information. This book, Deadbeat Dad, is what happened to me and my family. This is not fiction. This is truth. This is the reality, and this is what these people, they don't want you to know about. Anyway, I got a letter from Lulu.com, and here's my response to it. Here's what they said. Hello, Charles. We have received and are processing your request to remove your book, Deadbeat Dad, from Lulu's retail distribution channels. Well, my response was, I never requested my book be removed from distribution. So, what gives? Problem number 2. This is what Lulu said. Quote, we are in receipt of a claim that statements made in your book, Deadbeat Dad, may infringe someone's privacy rights or be defamatory. We are not making a judgment as to the merits of this claim, but since a dispute exists, we must remove the book from availability through Lulu and its distribution channels. I mean, I couldn't believe it. So someone can simply make an accusation and guilt is assumed. Someone, quote, doesn't even have to detail which statements they believe infringe on that someone's privacy. And you have to remove the book just based on someone's accusation. I have no chance to refute the accusations. I continue. There's no court order. Lulu is simply going to ban my book based upon an unproven, nebulous accusation. Is this the new America? And I put my name. Okay, so that was Lulu.com, and that was last year. And I wasn't too concerned, and they didn't. I wrote them another letter, and they didn't answer. So what are you going to do? They have, they're a private company, and they can do what they want, I guess. So I let it go, but I had already uploaded my book on CreateSpace, and I put on a new front cover, and this is what the book looked like on CreateSpace, and I sold through Amazon. But last week, I got a letter from Amazon, and here's a copy of it. Hello. We've received a notice from a third party claiming that the title you submitted for sale through Amazon may contain defamatory content. And this is my book, Deadbeat Dad. And they continue, Amazon continues, as a result, we've suspended sales of this title pending further investigation. If you have further questions about the notice we received, please contact us using the following contact information. Copyright agent, copyright Amazon, blah, blah, blah. Here's all the paperwork and the number and all that stuff. So my response a few days later, remember they wanted you, well, they asked, we appreciate your prompt attention to this matter. Yeah, right. So I write back, copyright team, please notice this is not a claim of copyright infringement. It is simply an assertion of, quote, defamatory content. And then I supply them the 4 elements of defamation. You have to have all these 4 together. Yes, it was published, and it has to be false, it has to be injurious, and it has to be unprivileged. The content has to meet all 4 of those for it to be considered defamatory content. My content is true, I continued, and much of the content is found in public court documents. Further, my opinion doesn't count as defamation. Most opinions don't count as defamation because they can't be proved to be objectively false. I continue in my email. The accuser has to establish that the defamatory content caused them injury. It's not defamation if they have not suffered injury. No injury, no wrong done. And the accuser must establish that the content was privileged. Kindly allow me to defend my content from those false allegations made by those who don't like what they did or said made publicly available. Given the above, my book should not be censored and should be available to the customers at Amazon.com. Amazon is one of the few easy-to-use online self-publishers. If Amazon starts censoring books based simply upon unsupported and unsubstantiated allegations, how are authors not accepted by the big house publishers going to get their works published? And I ask, doesn't the public, including Amazon customers, have the right to know what happened in my case, as documented in Deadbeat Dad, which relies heavily on public court documents for its content? Are you going to censor my next book also, based solely on unsubstantiated accusations? Why would any author even attempt to write and publish true stories such as Deadbeat Dad? Why make the effort to write a book that only gets banned based upon unsupported allegations from individuals who don't like their nefarious deeds made public? Will not censoring Deadbeat Dad have a chilling effect on other potential publications that expose the corruption and abandonment of the rule of law in our courtrooms? Silencing the truth, I continue, found in Deadbeat Dad will only encourage those who commit these deeds they want kept hidden to commit more and perhaps far worse unlawful activities. Make the party get a court order after they have proven in a court of law their claim of defamation. You must reject this unsubstantiated demand to censor Deadbeat Dad, respectively, Charles Folkart. Everyone who, the few people, and I really thank the few that are here. The information that I put out is not popular. People don't want to hear the truth anymore. And this is very serious here, because if you can't get your book published on the mainstream publishers, and then you want to go online and you publish your book, it costs me money, time and money to do all that work at Lulu, and all they got to do is after you do all that work and you pay them, they can take your book off, and that's it, and that's it. And the exact same thing happens here at Amazon.com. And I also understand another book has been banned. Amazon banned Jim Fetcher's book, Nobody Died at Sandy Hook. So folks, I'd ask you, when's this going to stop? At what point? If somebody just says something that somebody else doesn't like, all they've got to do is contact the online book publishers and have your book removed. That's all it takes anymore. I was falsely accused. I'm not sure who that other party is. I don't know for sure. But I was falsely accused by a young lady. And then all she had to do was, I was falsely accused of stalking. She said I was following her, which was completely false. And this young lady was receiving Social Security because she had been professionally diagnosed as a paranoid schizophrenic. Her mother told me that. Her father was well aware of the problem. And yet when their daughter accused me, made her false accusation, they supported her over 100%. And they went after me. And they went into the courtroom, and the judge believed her, even though it was on the court record. I brought the paperwork in that showed that she was getting Social Security disability because she was a paranoid schizophrenic. It didn't matter to the judge. She was a woman. I was a white male. I was guilty. I had to retain an attorney, and I had to pay him. And they went after me and went after me, and it's all in the book. But now again, all somebody has to do is point the finger, and you're guilty of whatever it is they say you're guilty of. Now, folks, where's this going to stop? See? Not very many people have read my book. Nobody gives a rat's ass about what happens to other people for the most part until it starts affecting them. And that is why we are in the situation we're in today. Nobody wants to take the time. Nobody has a concern about what's going on with their neighbor and their next of kin, their own people. Nobody cares. And the white females in our culture are getting away with breaking the law, and they're getting help from the legal system. And I expose all this in my book. And I'm not a marketing. I don't go on talk shows, and I don't try to push my book. And I was in Korea most of the time. The book was published in 2006. I didn't get back to the United States here until 6 years ago. It's been 5 years now. A lot of people haven't even heard about my book, but that doesn't mean my book's not important, and that doesn't mean that you shouldn't read my book. Any white male who is of marriage age or is thinking about getting married should read my book. Deadbeat that. They need to know what the system is going or could very likely put them through if their wife decides she doesn't want to be married to her. If their wife decides on a whim she doesn't want to be married to you anymore, you get into the system, they can take everything you got. All right? That's what this book exposes. It exposes the judges, it exposes the other attorneys, it exposes how they use the system, and it's all supported by public information found in the court papers. And no one has ever accused me of not telling the truth in the book. No. They are saying, oh, you hurt my feelings. You told the truth about me, and I don't want the truth known about me. There's several people in this book who could have made. Maybe the judge, maybe he doesn't like. So all he has to do on his own, on his letterhead, is write a letter to the, and your books are gone. That's all it takes. Or Mr. Wells, he doesn't want the information that I have in the book about him. Maybe it's him that doesn't like the fact that his actions and his words are exposed in my book. So maybe he wrote the letter. I don't know who wrote the letter, but it doesn't really matter. The letter was written, and the book is no longer available on either Lulu or on Amazon.com. And I'm not concerned so much about my particular little book, my one book. This is Amazon and Lulu that can censor books and remove books from circulation just because someone makes an accusation and you don't get a chance to defend yourself. What about the court of law? How come these people, who's ever making these accusations, they don't have to go to court of law and sue me and make me prove, or they have to prove their case that what I've actually said, it meets those 4 elements of defamation? No. All they got to do is maybe an email or a letter, and boom, your book's gone. Folks, this is, like I said in my last video, we are now the Soviet Union. Everything that we accuse the Soviet Union of doing, we are doing it here ourselves. And I tell you what, this country is in a world of hurt. We're in for a shock, and I hope you're prepared. And do I feel a little? Do I seem a little angry? You bet I'm angry. You know, I've loved my country. I've loved the United States since I was a small child, and I read about Abraham Lincoln, and I read about James Madison, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Patrick Henry. Give me liberty or give me death. Those men had an influence on me my entire life, and I've been speaking out against this, against our government and their actions for as long as I can remember, and I've got paperwork and letters to the editor to prove it from the 80s. I got a whole nother video on what happened to one of my columns in the 1980s. But something has got to stop. We have got to either come up with our own source so we can publish our books and they can't be banned and they can also be easily available online. We got to stop these chosen ones from taking over everything. Everything that's popular, they got so much, they print the money up, they just create the money out of thin air, and they can buy everything up, and that's what they've done, and that's why we're where we are today, because we're too busy with our jet skis and our boats and our four-wheelers and our watching the blacks pass a ball around on a field. You people, I mean, I don't want to go there, but people, wake up. Wake the hell up. I want to thank you for watching. I also have charlesfolkart.com, and I have articles there and information there. I also have keyrexreplies.wordpress.com and keyrexreplies.blogspot.com. How long those are going to be on online, I have no idea. It won't be long, and they're going to eliminate all of us who don't agree with what they're saying, folks. That's where we're headed. That they're doing it on Twitter. They're doing it on Facebook. They're doing it on. They are censoring on Amazon. They're censoring on Lulu. Censor, censor, censor. People, we are now that which we found evil back when I was in college. We are now the evil empire. I thank you for watching. I do wish you the best. See ya.